You know, it's one of the great underdog stories of all time, and it's one I love to read to my kids. I'm talking about David versus Goliath. You know, as a shepherd boy that nobody believed in, he looked up to that 9-foot giant, and everybody said, this guy is undefeatable. He is a veteran of battles. Well, it's a story that, you know, we can apply to sports, business, politics, and many other things in life when we're facing challenges and the struggles that we go through. Pastor and author Louie Giglio says it's true. We all see ourselves as David, the hero, the overcomer. Louie, welcome to 100 Huntley Street.
It's great to be with you. I love every chance I get to be on, and hello to everybody that's listening with us today.
And you're coming to us from Atlanta, so it's good to have you again on the program. Congratulations on the new book, Goliath Must Fall, Winning the Battles Against Your Giants. What inspired you to write this book, Louie?
Well, I'm a pastor of a church here in Atlanta, and I walk with people every day through the challenges and struggles of life. And the reality is that, yes, it is, as you say, the greatest underdog story of all time. But the story is really not about a shepherd boy and a 9.5-foot giant. The question that all of us want to get our heads around is, how am I going to take down the giant in my life today? And all of us are facing a giant of some kind. It doesn't have to be one of the big three giants, alcoholism or drug abuse or divorce or abuse of some other kind. We're facing all kinds of giants every single day. And I see that in my life. I see it in the lives of the people that I'm trying to encourage and serve. And so we did a series here 3 summers ago. It was one of those that just resonated with everybody in our house, in our church. And so I wanted to get it in print so that more people around the world could experience that same sense of freedom that we began to experience here as well. And that's how it came to be. And I'm really, really excited that it's out now for a few weeks. And I'm starting to hear the stories of people who are seeing their giants come down.
Well, I think one of the things as I was reading through it too is I realized I got a few giants in my life that I didn't realize. I thought those giants were dead. And I want to talk about some of the different kinds of giants that we're facing. But one of the things I mentioned off the top here is that I like to think of myself as the David. You know, God empowered me, I took down that giant. But really, from reading in your book, we're not the giant. There's somebody else that's or at least the David. Somebody else is the David in this story.
You know, I started hearing this story. I'm a church kid, so vacation Bible school, backyard Bible club, summer camp. You couldn't go to any of those environments without hearing somebody teach about the story of David and Goliath. And every time the conclusion would be the same. Someone would point their finger out in the crowd, probably at me, because I was the scrawniest little middle school in the group. And they would say, if David could take down this 9.5-foot Philistine, then you can take down whatever's going to face you in your life. And we would flood down to the front of the chapel, and we would all recommit our lives to God. We were sincere and determined that we were going to take down every giant we would ever face in life. One camp, I remember, we even went out and picked up 5 smooth stones from around the campground. We brought them back in our hand. We consecrated them at the altar. And while it is true that we have the power of the risen God inside our lives, God never intended for us to hulk up and bulk up, to get our stones and our sling and to go out and take down the giants in our lives. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of us at 46 and 56 years of age are still facing the same giant we were facing at that summer camp when we were 15 years old or 16-year-olds. That giant's still standing in our story. So what David and Goliath is helping us see is that God isn't looking to us to take down the giants in our lives. He sent another shepherd boy from Bethlehem named Jesus to do that for us. Jesus is David in the story of David and Goliath, and Jesus has taken down all the giants in our lives.
Jesus is the great, giant slayer. Now, we could talk, for a long time here, we've got the giants of addiction, fear, rejection. But we only got a couple of minutes left, and I want to deal with, because I think it applies to us in North America, is that giant of comfort. Can you tell me a little bit what you're thinking about that and why that is such a destructive force for those that are trying to follow after Jesus?
Well, think about it. For 40 days and 40 nights, these 2 armies had been camped on their hillside. The only person who stepped into the valley was Goliath every morning, every night, taunting the armies of Israel. And when David arrived, he actually came to the battle site to check on the well-being of his brothers. Their father was worried about them in the fight against Goliath and the Philistines. David arrives and everybody's doing fine. Everyone has a tent. Everyone has a campfire. Everyone has a little brother like David resupplying them with fresh bread every few weeks. So why would you want to step into the valley, risk having your head ripped off by Goliath when you've got a campfire in a nice warm tent and a resupply of food every day? It was comfort that was keeping the armies on the hillside. It wasn't the only thing keeping them. They were afraid of Goliath. They were terrified of him, but they were also in a comfortable place. Maybe the best thing that could have happened is if all the little brothers stopped bringing the bread, if the firewood ran out, if the tents got a rip in them and they weren't waterproof anymore. And then some of the guys said, look, somebody's going to have to go in the valley and shut down this giant. And I think for us in North America, as you say, it's a huge challenge for us, because what most of our prayers are, God, take this pain away, take this difficulty away, fix this problem, save us from this difficult moment. But it's actually, we say this in the book, faith thrives in holy discomfort. No one's testimony is, life was great. I got a bonus at work. My husband got a promotion. Our kids got all 4 stars in every subject. We won the lottery. All of our stocks and bonds went up. And that's when our faith in God grew the most. Our stories are all the same in this degree. When I went through that hardship, when we faced death, when we had to walk through cancer, when the bottom fell out, that's where we found God, and that's where our faith was fortified. That's where we grew in our relationship with God. And so we're not going to become the people God's intended us to be by living comfortable, easy way out lives. We are not here for a vacation. We are here on a mission. That mission is to follow Jesus and to take the story of God to every person on planet Earth. So sure, we should take a vacation. Sure, we should take a rest, enjoy a meal with a friend, go and have a picnic and enjoy the sunset. But if we see our whole lives as a quest for comfort, we are going to be so sad at the end of the day. It's not going to be probably a negative thing, a bad quote thing that takes a lot of Christians out at the end of the day. It's going to be the fact that we thought somehow in our minds God wants us to take the cushy road, the easy road in life, instead of stepping in faith and saying, God, I want to be used by you in your story, whatever that means. I'm not looking for the comfortable life. I'm looking for the significant life. And when I stand before him at the end of the day, and I just had one chance to live life, I don't want any regrets that I just sat looking for comfort when God was calling me into something great.
You know, and that was the quote that caught me the most, that our faith grows in discomfort. Louie, thank you very much for writing this book. You write like you preach with lots of passion. I want to thank you for it. And I would encourage people to pick it up. Goliath not will fall, Goliath must fall. Thank you very much, Louie.
Loved being on with you guys. Thank you so much.
And we'll have more of 100 Huntley Street right after this.